You're going to look back and be embarrassed that you didn't know who these 4 rookies were after your rookie draft. And I say that from a place of vulnerability. And I say that because prior to me watching their tape and really diving in, I now feel embarrassed that I was not familiar with your game. I'm feeling like Shaq right now. I'm feeling like I have a lot of remorse. So today, again, 4 rookies that you're going to be embarrassed you didn't know about prior to this video. Y'all know what we got to do. Tuck our shirts in. New BDGE merch dropping soon. Hi. First guy up on this list is who I would answer with if someone came to me and said, hey, who is this year's Tank Dell? And a lot of y'all weren't familiar with Tank Dell's game. I get it. Smaller school. You're not as in the spotlight type of thing, and you don't draft him because of that. And you just look at his size, and all the analytical people will be like, he's an outlier. Enough. At some point, enough has to be enough. And that's Jacob Cowing. Jacob Cowing out of Arizona is the only correct answer for who is this year's Tank Dell from many different angles. I mean, you do look at the size, and that is concerning, okay? He's 5'8", 168 pounds. We don't love guys who are sub 170. We don't love guys who are 5'8" or shorter. When you put them together, it is a disaster class. He is also 23 years old. But the man runs a 4.38 40-yard dash. He is fast as shit, okay? And he is extremely fluid. He is extremely twitchy. He played at UTEP for 3 seasons, transferred over to Arizona, okay? That's why he was in college for so long. But he was good as soon as he stepped on the field at UTEP back in 2019. As a freshman, 550 receiving yards, averaging 17.7 yards per reception. Okay? When you start to look at the analytics, the shit that the analytics community loves, this guy just stands the test of time with these numbers. His college dominator rating, 61.4%. That is in the 99th percentile. His college target share, damn near 37%, 99th percentile. His breakout age, yes, he is old now. He's 23 years old now, but he broke out at 18.6 years old. We're getting specific with it. 95th percentile. So don't talk to me about how Jacob Cowing's analytics don't make sense. They don't. So don't talk to me about it because it makes sense in my brain, and it should make sense in your brain. He is small, but he is quick twitch. He is fluid in and out of his breaks. He is as much of a pure athlete as you're going to find on a football field. He gave me the same feeling that you watched with Tank Dell. And I said this, fucking 85 times last offseason. I remember talking about Tank Dell. Tank Dell gave you the feeling that when you watched his film in college, you were watching a college football player in gym class play against other high school students. It's like he's playing, or it's like a college player playing in the intramural league of their school. That's what Tank Dell looked like. It's like he's clear by far and away the best athlete. He makes everybody else look like they are physically decapitated, okay? And that's the same feeling you get with Jacob Cowing. So 5'8", 168, but the dude runs a 4.38 40-yard dash, and he did nothing but produce in college. Produce at a big level. His 3 years at UTEP averaged 17.7 yards per reception, 16.9 yards per reception, and his sophomore year, 69 catches, 1,354 yards, 19.6 yards per reception. Transfers over to Arizona his first year as a Wildcat. 85 catches, over 1,000 yards. All right? This dude is extremely legit. Some team is going to get a 4th, 5th, 6th round steal, and you're going to get a 3rd, 4th round steal in your rookie drafts. Next dude up on this list is a smaller-ish school type player, but has gotten some real steam over the offseason, and that is Javon Baker out of UCF. 6'1", 202, got real size. He was a big-time recruit, and big-time recruits end up going to places like Alabama, which he did. He was at Alabama for 2 years, transferred over to UCF. This happens a lot, man. This happened with A.D. Mitchell, right? You're playing at a school, you're playing at Bama, and they just recruit 17 five-star athletes. And sometimes the ball just don't break your way. The cookie don't crumble the way you want it to. So you got to go somewhere else to exemplify that you can fucking play ball. He transferred over to UCF and then broke the shit out. This past season at UCF, he had 52 catches for 1,139 yards. That might just sound just numbers to you. When you do the math, that is 21.9 yards per reception. That is a fucking insane number. Now listen, I think his best attributes are, he is a great possession receiver. He has wildly strong hands. He catches pretty much everything thrown his way within his catch radius. He has a bag of all different types of moves he uses, right? He could separate at the line of scrimmage. He uses head fakes really well. He can fight with his hands. He uses hesitation moves to like kind of layer the different layers of the defense and get around other defenders. Javon Baker is just a really, really solid possession receiver with some juice after the catch. And he actually reminds me of Rashee Rice. He reminds me a lot of Rashee Rice coming out. Rashee Rice in college was way more of a downfield threat, like great body control, great hands on the edges of the field. I didn't see Rashee Rice's career kind of playing out the way it did in terms of being a catch the ball near the line of scrimmage within the first 10, 12 yards and then make plays afterwards. But that's what he's become with the Chiefs. And I think that's in Javon Baker's range of outcomes, okay? So he's a dude who can get open. Now, he ran a 4.54, which is, it's fine for his size. I don't think he gets open downfield against like press and tight man coverage as well as I'd like him to. But Rashee Rice didn't really either. And I think the important thing to take away here is like separation is not always created just through refined route running or just through speed. You can create separation at the point of the catch. And that's where I think Javon Baker will excel at the next level and be great in the role that he's asked to be on the next team. Okay, so again, if he's asked to do that, he can. If he's asked to play a Rashee Rice role, he can move with the ball in his hands. So I see Rashee Rice. I see some Josh Palmer too, like, just a possession receiver that's going to be a good NFL player with a little bit more juice after the catch. So get familiar with Javon Baker out of UCF. The third player on this list, we're going over to the running back position. And I tried to make this video because, like, obviously I can make the title clickbait and be like 4 players you should be embarrassed you didn't know, and then start to name players that y'all fucking know, and then you get mad at me. But this one was really deep in the bag, and this came because of a Lance Zierlein tweet, all right? And I'm talking about Tyrone Tracy Jr. out of Purdue. And this is Lance's tweet. For those of you who are heavy into the Dynasty fantasy football space, we fucking appreciate you, Lance. We appreciate you. You see us. You make me feel heard. Keep an eye on running back Tyrone Tracy out of Purdue. Good size, really hard to bring down, and has a background as a receiver as well. He has the potential to become a productive 3-down back, in my opinion. Now, when dudes like Lance or Daniel Jeremiah or Bucky Brooks or Jim Nagy speak highly of a player, they are worth looking into. If nothing else, they say something about them worth looking into. Now, The Athletic wrote a really good long article about Tyrone Tracy, which I read after I kind of got wind of who he was because I started to dive into the research of him. PFF actually has Tyrone Tracy ranked as their 4th running back in this class. It's Trey Benson, it's Jalen Wright, it's Jonathan Brooks, and then Tyrone Tracy. Like, y'all know the first 3 there. Y'all know Trey Benson. Y'all know Jalen Wright. You know Jonathan Brooks. Tyrone Tracy sneaking in as the 4th guy. I know it's PFF. It is what it is. That was surprising. Now let's pull back a little bit and kind of tell the story. The problem with Tyrone Tracy as it comes from like evaluating him as a prospect, I can't find a lick of fucking all 22 film on this kid. So you could find full games of his snaps, but not all 22, which I think are extremely deceiving. You can watch highlights, sure, but that's the worst way to scout players. We could take a lot outside of that into his evaluation, though. Tyrone Tracy came into college in 2018. So the first thing to know about him is he's old as fuck. He's 24 years old. 24.3 years old to be exact. 5'11", 209 pounds. Great running back build. But when he came into college, he came in as a wide receiver. He was the Florida Gatorade National Player of the Year as a wide receiver out of high school. Goes to Iowa and is a wide receiver for 4 years at Iowa. It never once worked out for him. His season high was 36 catches. After the 4 years, I don't even know how the eligibility fucking rules work anymore in college. I got no idea, but he's been in college for 6 years. And there's nothing on the resume that's like, he redshirted, but outside of that, how does he have 5 more years of fucking eligibility? I don't know. Whatever. Maybe COVID, I guess. Redshirt, COVID. It is what it is. Transfers to Purdue in 2022. Plays wide receiver again. A new coaching staff comes to Purdue in his senior year, 2023, his super senior year, this previous year, and asks him to make a position change to running back. He was hesitant. He accepted. He put on 10 to 15 pounds in the offseason, and he became their leading rusher. He led the Big Ten in rushing touchdowns this year with 8 of them. So you're talking about a running back that's 5'11", now 210 pounds, that played wide receiver at an elite level in high school and then for the last 5 years in a Power 5 conference at the college level. So you have size, a guy who can without a doubt play on all 3 downs, and just getting to learn the running back position. Now, that's all cool on paper. And if I can't watch all 22, the analytics and the numbers better back up something good here. And they did. 1, he dominated the combine. Surprised he got an invite to it. Apparently he cried and he's very emotional when he got the invite to the combine. But he did. And he came away with a 98th percentile RAS score, which is just your athleticism score, right? Again, 210 pounds, 5'11", ran a 4.48 40-yard dash. His burst score was in the 93rd percentile. His agility score in the 98th percentile, right? This man fucking cooked a whole meal, a 5-course meal. So the athleticism is crazy through the roof for his size. And when you start to look at the stats, he had a top 20 rushing grade per PFF this year, which is probably not a sticky stat, but just as a first-year runner to get a grade that's based off purely running the ball is impressive. 4th in the entire country in yards after contact per attempt. 4.44, best in the entire class. Both his missed tackles forced per attempt at 29.8% and his overall elusiveness rating per PFF and Sports Info Solutions, both of them could back that up. Extremely highly rated in this class. If not number 1, number 2 in the class to any back. Then you look at, again, his explosiveness is now backed up by these statistics. 21.9% of his runs went for 10 yards or more. 12.3% of his runs went for 15 or more yards. Those are really high numbers relative to everybody else in the class and everybody else in the country. So you're talking about a guy whose yards after contact per attempt are really good. He is powerful. He can move the piles. You're talking about a guy who is elusive. His broken missed tackles forced per attempt. His elusiveness rating, really high. You're talking about a guy who's explosive, 10 to 15-plus yard runs, very high clip. His pass blocking grade, that is the thing that you're usually worried about from a wide receiver coming over to a running back. Can they pass block? Can they actually stay on the field for all 3 downs at the next level? Good pass blocking grade. Good pass blocker. Now, what's funny is his receiving numbers are probably the worst thing on his resume this year, but we don't really have to worry about that. We know he's played receiver at an extremely high level. We know he's done it for a very long time. So I'm not worried about his yards per route run being, as low as it was last year. It was probably way more of a role situation than it was a him situation because he's already proven that he's a good wide receiver. All right, so I would love to dive in a little bit more to whether or not I think he's got a good feel for hitting the holes and reading and ball carrier vision. But for the most part, if the size, if the athleticism, and all of the numbers stats-wise back up, that's probably a good sign and putting him in the right direction. He's just so versatile, right? He's a lesser-known name, which probably means he drops in the draft a little bit. But I have no worries about him making a roster because he's so versatile. He was also a return man in college. So you're talking about a special teams guy, a receiver, and a running back. He's going to make a roster no matter if he's a 6th or 7th round pick. But I actually expect him to go in the 4th-ish, 5th round as teams start to do more research on him. So Tyrone Tracy Jr. out of Purdue, shout out to you. And the last one on here, which is kind of cheating. I went against what I said. But listen, I put him on here, good faith. Jalen McMillian, I don't think a lot of people really know about him. And again, I said all of these come from a pure place of me being embarrassed for not knowing them. Me, Adam, and Andrew did a rookie draft a few weeks ago. I don't remember if it was 2 or 3 rounds, but whatever the case may be, we didn't take Jalen McMillian. And we got a few comments that were like, how could you possibly pass on this guy through 2 or 3 rounds? So I was like, all right, maybe there's something here. I watched him. I'm a fan of his game. And the reason I think most people won't know about him is because he's coming out of Washington, where you have a ton of really hyped prospects already, right? You got Michael Penix Jr., you have Rome Odunze, you got Jalen Polk, 2 other wide receivers that are going to go probably within the top 50 to 70 picks of the NFL draft. So Jalen McMillian, coming off of a bad year as a senior and an injury-plagued year, is going to be the forgotten about receiver. But back in 2022, 79 for 1,100 yards and 9 touchdowns. He was a legitimate huge playmaker. And he goes to the combine and he tests really well. 4.47 speed, burst score, agility score, catch radius, all 70th percentile or above. He is a smooth, natural athlete, very strong hands, played a ton in the slot, and I think that's where he will excel at the next level. He reminds me of JSN a little bit, where everybody like super hyped him up because the other wide receivers were obviously running the tough routes, running against man. They were NFL prospects, so that leaves the entire middle of the field open. But he does get open when it's against zone coverage. And that's Jalen McMillan's bread and butter right there. So if a team with real threats on the outside take Jalen McMillan and put him into the slot, I think he's going to play really, really, really well. I'm actually just thinking about it now. It would be cool to see him on Pittsburgh. Like, Pittsburgh don't miss with top 3 round receivers. Like, Pittsburgh never misses with day 1 or 2 receivers, or it feels like they never fucking have in the last 10 years. Jalen McMillan feels like he'd be a good add there. I kind of wish they still had Deontay, so it'd be like Pickens, Deontay, and then Jalen McMillan over the middle. He feels like he would fit in really, really well there. So don't forget about McMillian, wide receiver 3. Some people say the 2 there in Washington. Not me. Not I. I let you know about Jalen McMillan. These other frauds out here will not. And they'll be embarrassed that they didn't tell you about him. So real quick to recap, we got Javon Baker out of UCF. We got Jacob Cowling out of Arizona. We've got Tyrone Tracy out of Purdue. And we've got Jalen McMillan out of Washington. Make sure these guys are on your radar. Make sure you are hitting the draft button in 3rd and 4th rounds of rookie drafts on these dudes as often as you can. And I promise you will not be the embarrassed ones. Your league mates will be the embarrassed ones, all right? And I'm also embarrassed for you if you're not subscribed to the channel already, because we are putting out high-quality Dynasty videos literally every single day leading up to the NFL draft, leading up to the rookie draft. We will be live streaming the actual NFL draft, the entire first round with us in studio, me, Adam, and Andrew. So make sure you got your notifications turned on for that. And I will see you on maybe Thursday, maybe Saturday. I don't know. I'll see you when I see you. Mwah. Love you.